Well, it is 11 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to this next conversation in the Spika Speaker Series. Today, as part of the OSHA National Safety Stand Down for Fall Prevention, we're excited to be talking about designing fall protection on human nature. I'm Katie Spika. I'm the CEO of Spika Design Manufacturing. And I want to introduce our panel before we get going. With me is Becky Spika. She's the Director of Sales and Marketing at Spika. Becky, do you want to just give a little bit of a background on you and your role at Spika?
Sure. I've been with the company since 2014, and for about a year or so, I actually served as the safety officer for Spika. But I've been in sales and marketing since about 2017.
Thanks. Next, we have Tom, who is the founder of Spika and is the Chief Innovation Officer. Tom, tell us a little bit about your role.
Hi, I started this company about 20 years ago. Started it with the idea it was going to be kind of a neat little business to keep me busy, and it's grown into something far more than I ever thought, and very proud of where we've come and where we're going. So glad to be a part of this discussion today.
Awesome, thanks. Finally, we're excited to have a subject matter expert with us today. Chris Tacke is a safety and health specialist with the Department of Labor and Industry. Chris, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your role.
Hey guys, well thanks for having me. I've been with the Montana Department of Labor and Industry now for 5 years, and I work in the Montana Safety Consultation Program, and we provide free safety and health consultations to both public and private businesses throughout the state of Montana. And we consult on a wide variety of topics and subjects and industries, but excited to be here and be part of this panel today.
Great, thank you so much, Chris. We are going to be answering a bunch of questions at the end, so feel free just to put them in that chat window at any time if you have them. But to go ahead and get started, Chris, could you just start by telling us a little bit about the status of the industry, some of the current challenges in fall protection and fall prevention in construction?
Yeah, so if we look at kind of the reason why we're all here today, right, is OSHA has created these stand-down events both in general industry and in the construction industry to highlight certain hazards that they're seeing out in those types of industries. And so one of those hazards is fall hazards in construction. And so fatalities caused by falls from elevation continue to be a leading cause of death for the construction industry and construction workers. And so if we look at fatalities from falls from elevation, count for 320 of the 1,080 or 1,008 fatalities alone in 2018. So they created these events to promote awareness to fall hazards in construction. And that continues on today. So in 2019 and even into 2020, we see that fall hazards and citations relating to falls continue to be on the rise and leading towards the top. OSHA puts out a top 10 list of violations for both general industry and in construction. Of those top 10, 6 of them are related to fall hazards and falls in construction, with fall protection being the first top hazard that they see or top violation. Scaffolding comes in at number 2, and then ladders comes in at number 3, and then fall protection training at number 4. So even just within the top 10, the top 4 are related towards fall hazards in construction. Rounding out the bottom is 9 aerial lifts, and then 10 is fall protection system criteria. And if we look at those standards that OSHA is citing, 29 CFR 1926 501b3 is the top cited standard. And that has to do with residential construction, 6 feet or more above a lower surface. The standard says that fall protection shall be in place. And so that's kind of where we go and kind of what we're seeing out in the industry. And then if we want to tie that into human nature, this is where kind of I come in and the consultation project comes in. When we consult for companies, we ask them, can you tell us a little bit about your injuries and illnesses? And if they have to do to fall protection, a lot of times what we're seeing is, we have the fall protection equipment, but it takes too long to put on, or it's too cumbersome. It was a quick job. We were going to run up on top of the roof, so we didn't think we'd need it. And then we ended up having a fall from elevation. So that's kind of where we're at today.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Becky, could you chime in a little bit with some of the experiences you've encountered with our customers, some of their challenges in this designing fall protection around human nature?
Yeah, well, what Chris said, basically, if it takes too long to assemble or to use, or it's too cumbersome, people just won't. So we all know human nature is kind of the path of least resistance. What can I do that doesn't take a long time? It needs to be quick. It needs to be intuitive, which I think is a lot of what Tom is going to talk about in terms of intuitive designs. But yeah, the most common thing that I hear from our customers or people calling in that maybe are looking for a better solution to what they have, they say if it's not easy to use, they're not going to use it. So I think, Tom, you probably have some thoughts on specifically when we're doing some design work, how we can work with this natural tendency as humans to kind of take the easy road and to, have ways to make the ability to have safe access at heights just be a really intuitive thing.
Yeah, I think that that's such an important part of the role of the designers. Now, we're going to be talking and showing some pictures of some that are, quite customized systems, but the same things apply to ones that are more universal stands. And again, we're kind of talking a lot about the construction industry, and it does have a little different requirements than when you're building something inside of a facility, but the safety requirements are still there, and the need for better designs and better options to try and provide that safe work environment are still there, the same as any. We can design equipment that's very safe, and you can feel very confident working on it, but the user has to want to use it. They have to find that it is easy for them to put in place and to use, that it's not obstructing where they need to be or hampering their efforts to do their job. And that's a real challenge at times. It has to be quick. Like Chris had said, sometimes they'll say, well, we only need to go up there and do this one little thing, and we don't want to take the time to drag that over here and do it. I'll just kind of crawl up there and grab it. That's natural tendencies. We all tend to do it, even though we try and tell ourselves we don't. And, like the picture that's being shown right here, human nature is to take the path of least resistance. And it's pretty evident when you watch people that that's just a human nature. They're going to see what they see to be an easier, faster, less obtrusive way, and they go that way. So that's one of the main things we have to really focus on as a designer. If we can go to the next slide there, we kind of show one of our systems that is kind of exemplifying a number of these different things. Now, this again is showing the top of a helicopter, but it could be the top of anything that you're working on. But, all of this stuff, you could take a ladder, put up to it, reach it from the side, get up on top, and just kind of make sure that you're staying in the middle. That's what a lot of people would do if they had their choice. But on something like this is a fully enclosed wraparound system, and it's kind of the far end of the spectrum, but these still move up into position so quickly and easily. It takes virtually nothing to push them up there. Once they're in place and latched into place, you have that safe working environment. You can do anything you want, and there's not that opportunity for them to not be paying attention, focused on something, and back off of the edge of their platform or trip on something and not have something to catch them with. So what we're seeing here on the sides are what we call sliders, and they aren't on all systems, but they're on a lot of them. If you're trying to conform to an unusual shape, or you have something that's contoured, like these little obstacles sticking out here. These are so common in our industry to use this type of a system that allows you to very easily from the top side adjust to, close off those gaps. So there's ways that there are features you can design into something that is going to really make it usable, and the users are going to say, that's making my job a whole lot easier. Give me that kind of accessibility. I want to use that. If you look at some of the other options, like a fall restraint that may be attached up above, they have to put their harness on, and then it's kind of restricting where they're at, and it's kind of a pain to be dragging around with you, and the time it takes to inspect it and put it on and harness up and everything. So many times they're not gonna want to do that if nobody's looking. And that's where so many of these injuries come in. They've got the equipment, they know how to use it, they just have chosen not to for this one little time, and that's when an incident can happen.
So what you're highlighting here really is that the point that the fall protection has to be able to be deployed rapidly. Anything that adds time, adds complexity is going to be less likely to be used or to be used right. Right? That
is correct, yeah. And that's, we see so many different things that, it's a judgment in the user's mind. Does this justify the time it's going to take to bring this up here? Now, in this system here, obviously, this is a more one, and it would take a little bit longer to set up, but still, what we're looking at is 3 platforms. You could push them into place, and within a matter of 5 minutes, you've got that in place. If you're doing only a single one to go up there and is providing access just to the side, you're talking seconds. So users, for the benefit they see in it, they're very willing to take that time and create that safe environment.
Chris, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think just to kind of reiterate for like what Tom said and Katie said, is quick deployability is one of the biggest things that we see out in the industry. So when we're consulting for companies and we're diving into their falls that they've had or some injuries that they've had, when we do that investigation piece and start talking to them, a lot of it is, well, it was a 5-minute job. I knew it wasn't going to take me too long, but it takes me 20 minutes to put my PPE on and inspect it. So if you have a system, or you can design a system or put something in place that is relatively quick and easy to use, to be deployed quickly, we're probably going to find that more employees and employers are going to use those systems. They're going to be more available and more excited to use them. Like we see in the image, there's no lanyards being needed. There's no safety harnesses being needed. So the inspection process with those is gone. This is your typical 42-inch guardrail system that meets the definitions of the standard and is able to provide that employee protection.
Well, and I think that there's opportunity as well. In terms of deployability, there are things that people may not think of. Like in this image, you see there's air and electric hookups on the railing there. That's one thing that could make another step or multiple steps quicker to do. So it's efficiency improving, but it's also in terms of deployability. I believe the next slide shows, scaffolding. That's a little bit more difficult to deploy. But I believe the next slide has information in terms of, yes, mobility. Casters are a really big part of, obviously, being able to move something smoothly. And I think that a lot of people will buy something that just kind of gets by, in that term. It's I think sort of a side issue that comes with fall hazards is also some type of muscle strain, because if you have a system that isn't really working for you, you might either one, not use it, or two, not use it in the right positions. So mobility, obviously, really easy thing to consider when you're looking at having something that's easy to deploy. It has to be easy to push around. The next slide will show a little bit about our guardrails. On the left side, there's this is basically a cam-lock attachment. And when I think about deployability, I think about ease of use as well, intuitive design. So this guardrail can actually attach tool-free, but beyond that, it can also store on the railing. So I think it's things like that in terms of deployability. It goes beyond just pushing it around. It's about ease of reconfigurability and not having to say, now I have this guardrail, where do I put it? Or I turned this knob, now where do I put it? You know, it's more about taking it to that final step as well, and thinking about making it more convenient for the person to do it correctly.
You know, something as simple as that, when you look at what it would take to say, geez, I really need to have this railing over here. I'm working this area that used to be blocked off and now it is, and I need to put a railing there. If you have to get bolts and bolt the thing down, or if you're trying to, you know, go back down, find the right rail, come up, try and work it into stake pockets or whatever, it's easy to say, I'm just not going to take time to do that. It's not worthwhile. If you have something designed that is so simple and easy to simply cam that up, remove it, set it over in place, and back down again, it's a matter of seconds. So our focus is just trying to design things that are so easy and intuitive. You know, I guess there's always going to be the human element that people have to take a certain responsibility, and you have to train them on how to do it. But if it's very intuitive, and on something like this here, where those side rails extend out along with the slider that's coming out there, no matter where it's extended to, it's going to pull that automatically out, provide that safe working zone. And you know, another thing like these latches it's showing here on the left, these are another really slick system. Instead of, you know, the old style that was done for years and years, is that when you'd move like a stair up to a platform to be able to access it, you'd move it up in place, and then you would have to climb up, sometimes on a ladder. Sometimes you would go up the stair itself and try and reach over and put pins in to attach them together. Too often they're not going to try and do that. They're just going to push it up and not attach it, just leave it kind of sitting there. Or they're going to be dragging a ladder up, trying to get up there to attach and pin them together. That's counterproductive to have that. Something like this here, where you can actually just take one module and click it into the other one, and it's attached. You don't have to be up high. You don't have to have other hardware. You want to detach it, you pull on a little string, and it comes off. I mean, there's ways to design things to where you're ensuring that the user is not going to see any reason to not do it. So if you want to advance to the next one, I think maybe we have, well, this kind of, again, shows in construction. There are just so many ways. And yes, it gets more difficult because you have multiple scenarios that all have a little bit different requirements to get to, but there can be more universal stands designed that, especially if you're working inside, you can get them small enough you can move into different rooms, navigate through tight spaces, and still have either manual or electric adjustability, so you can actually be working on a tall wall or on a ceiling and be able to access that so much easier than you could with, you know, trying to set up a scaffold, which takes time. And I'm not a big fan of just the difficult nature of using the things. To be able to push a platform in that's going to access all those areas is just really a far easier way for the users. If you look at this one here that's up on the screen, this is one I think that was actually used for manufacturing buses, but it works for anything where you're working on top of some sort of a unit. And this can be you know, any number of pieces of equipment that you're building or that you're using, or that you're in a construction scenario where you're working on top, installing HVAC equipment or whatever. To be able to easily push platforms up to the sides, you have that automatic fall catch right there. Even if you step off of the top of whatever you're working on, that you have the extended out range, and you have that safety railing all around. You also have a very easy way to get up and top and back down again. And if you're carrying parts and tools and stuff back up hour by hour, you get tired by the end of the day if you don't have a simple, easy way like a stair to get up onto it. So, you know, these are very universal. We do these for so many different applications, and they're very basic platform. They're quite cost effective. And again, you can do them either a fixed height, you can do them to where you can have height adjustability. Manually, you can have it where you push a button and they'll go up through different height ranges. So you can actually start low and be working your way up a wall or up the side of whatever you're building or working on. And, you know, it has a lot of the advantages of a scissor lift, but then the advantages that scissors don't have. They're much more maneuverable, especially when you get in tight spots or inside. You can actually work underneath them while you're working up above as well. They've got toe boards all around them. That gives it a safe work environment. Nobody's going to kick a drill off of the top or anything. So it comes down to just understanding what the need is and then truly designing something that's going to do that well.
Chris, would you like to address a little bit that same concept of making sure the fall protection is easy to use correctly?
Yeah, so if we look at some of the citations that OSHA gives, some of them are related towards, the fall protection system being used correctly. So if we were to look at like a safety fall protection system in terms of a lanyard and a harness, most of the times people are using the lanyards incorrectly. They're either not correctly tying off to an anchor point, or they're using the lanyard itself as an anchor point and wrapping it around a beam or wrapping it around a guardrail. And if we look at scaffolding and more specifically, most of the citations that OSHA is issuing is because the scaffolding is not erected correctly. They're either missing cross bracing, the cross bracing is put on in the wrong spot, employees are accessing the scaffolding from a non-access point. So if you're designing a system, a fall protection system that's easy to erect quickly and effectively and efficiently and done correctly, and it's easy to use, employees are going to want to use that and be able to use that more often. Scaffolding is very cumbersome to put up. It takes probably a day and a half to put scaffolding up, where if you have a system like shown on the slide or the previous slides that can be deployed within 5 minutes, but it's also customizable for the job that you have, employees are going to use that, and employers are going to want to buy those systems in order to put them out in their field because they're relatively safe and they're effective and they're easy to use.
And I will acknowledge there are places that long line or fall protection, fall arrest, fall restraint lines are the most logical, practical solution. There's those there. There are definitely solutions or times that assembling a fairly large construction scaffold is really the most practical way to go.
Yep.
There is no one solution that eliminates everything else. But what we have seen so often is when these other solutions are being employed that really are not the best way to go, and it's costing the employees and the employer time and money in using them and providing an environment that's not necessarily as safe as they think it is. So really what a lot of this presentation is on is just saying, there's just because this is the way you are doing it, you need to look at it and say, is this really getting us what we want? And may there be better options out there to do it. So, hopefully that at least encourages people to take a second look and see how well they are providing that safe environment.
That really ties into the third thing we've learned, which is that the fall protection needs to be the right equipment for the job. There's many different types of fall protection and fall arrest equipment, there's a lot of different ways to just achieve upper level access, but you got to make sure that you're providing your team the right equipment for the job so it'll be used most safely and effectively. I think our next slide, maybe the following one, is going to show some examples of options, alternatives to ladders, because sometimes a ladder just isn't the right equipment for the job.
And that's, the ladder is obviously the first thing people think of when you're talking about getting up to something you can't reach from the floor. You grab a ladder. And yeah, again, there's times that makes the most sense. But we will all agree, if we've ever been on a ladder, you tend to reach as far as you can reach with that ladder before you get back down and move it again. And anytime you're out of position, you're stretching off of that, you're getting the center of gravity off of what the ladder is designed to have, you're kind of stretching yourself and can definitely injure yourself just from being out of position, trying to reach too far. And that's the way so many people do it. And again, natural human tendency. Yeah, you can just do where you should be, get down, move your ladder, get back up again. But you take something like this stand that we're showing here. If you have areas that you're constantly needing to lean over, you have to be able to reach over something and you're actually working on it from up above, or you're reaching over, like we had some applications in server farms where you had to reach clear over the top of this whole bank of servers, thousands of them, and access things back behind them. Well, you could try and put a ladder in there, but as you're trying to lean over on that ladder, you're getting in a really unsafe condition. So again, it comes back to sometimes you need to get something that's more customized to what you're actually doing. And you know, you can design these things to be versatile, where they can use in a lot of different applications, but they have the capability of something like this, where they're truly providing a way of using them that's the way it's designed for. And I think that's really, really important in so many of the things that we're shortcutting it.
Chris, what's your take on this?
Yeah, well, ladders are kind of the bane of the safety people, because most of the time, you know, they're not being used properly. We're seeing step ladders used as extension ladders, or we're seeing extension ladders cut into pieces and used as step ladders. So if there's a way to, you know, find a system that works better for you and that will achieve your goals within that job, we'd rather see that, and it can be designed safely. You know, within the industry, and you know, both construction and general industry, again, it's going back to that: are you using the right tool for the right job? And most often than not, so the answer is no, because I have this ladder here, or I have this system here. Is it the right tool? No, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's either quick or it's right here. I don't have time to go run someplace else and grab something or go get something. So I'm just going to use this and make it work to its best of the ability. And that's not always the best thing to do.
And Chris, I think really what you're talking about there is the true development of a safety culture.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we as employees feel that the management doesn't want us taking that extra time to do it. You know, you're focused on being quick and efficient, and you have to, as employers especially, and supervisors, you need to work on developing that culture that says, no, your safety is the number one priority here. We can do this job and do it efficiently, but we're going to do it safely as well. And you have to reach out to those people on the floor, or the people that are out there in the field doing it, and say, are there things that you just really don't feel that safe doing the way we're doing it? Are there times you've had close calls and realized that, you know, it could have gone worse and you could have taken a tumble there that would have been really bad? You know, I had a friend several years ago that just walked right off the end of a plank that was, you know, up, and he wasn't that high. It was like 10 feet in the air, but he was working on a wall and just walked right off the end of it and hit the ground, and he was paralyzed the rest of his life. Well, things happen so quickly, and sometimes you have people on the floor that will say, man, I had a close call there one time. That could have been a lot worse. You need to hear from them, and you need to pay attention to that and say, okay, how can we do this safer? Encourage that feedback from them. And, you know, once you get that culture of safety, people start thinking in those terms. They want to go back home to their families at night. You don't want to be paying somebody to be, you know, on bed rest for a month because they can't come to work and produce. That costs an employer money, and it screws up your schedule. Nobody wants these injuries, but so many times we don't really take it seriously until we have an injury, and then, you know, then we start looking at it. So it's really important, I think, to develop that culture and engage the people that are out there working, to get their ideas and to help them understand that you're supporting a safe environment. You want them to take the time to do it right, and then give them the right tools to where they can.
Chris,
Yeah.
what's your advice on that?
Yeah, and Tom, I think you hit it on the head. There needs to be collaboration between the employer and the employees, bringing the line level and middle manager staff in and saying, hey, what issues are you seeing? What questions do you have? How can we better serve our customers and our stakeholders, but also serve the employees? And then I'd like to add from on that, when you come up with those list of things that need to be completed or questions or concerns or action items, make sure you write, companies are writing those down and then following up on them and then showing their employees like, hey, these are the concerns that you brought to us. Here's what we did to address those concerns and what we're going to do continuing forward to make sure that those concerns don't come up again. And also, if you have more concerns or if you have other issues that you'd like to bring forward, please bring them to us and we'll address them again. And most often, this is done through like a safety committee. So by establishing a safety committee, you're bringing employees in from all over the company and saying, hey, let's talk about some issues that we're having, some injuries, illnesses, what hazards are we seeing? And it provides an opportunity for both management and employees to work collectively and collaborate on addressing those issues.
Yeah, that culture really has to come from a trust that the leadership is going to take the safety seriously and act on it. And the best way is to just follow through on the concerns.
Yeah.
Great. So we're out of time. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. Your insight is invaluable. We don't have much time for questions, so go ahead and you can just email them to info@spikamfg.com. We'd be happy to answer them or direct them to Chris if they're more in his area. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a wonderful day. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.